Hello, and thanks for listening to JoJo's Bizarre Podcast. My name is Mark, and of course, I am joined by Miles. Hello, Miles.
Hello.
And we are also joined by Jackie. Hello, Jackie.
Hey, I think we should put the false starts on for Patreon so the Patreon listeners know how much Miles disrupts everything.
This is a podcast dedicated to the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure TV anime that has been ongoing since 2012. And we are now in the midst of Season 5, the Stone Ocean anime that we are watching on Netflix. And we will be talking about Episode 6 this week, which is called Ermes Sticker, or Ermes Sticker, if you want to say it that way. You'd be wrong, but you could do it. Just before we get into emails and stuff, because I'm sure they're gonna kind of spoil it. Maybe you guys have already looked. What do you think Hermes's stand is called? What do you think Hermes's stand is called? Because in the dub and sub on Netflix, it's called Smack.
Stickers.
Miles, do you have a guess?
Is it Kiss?
It is Kiss.
Oh.
Like the Prince song?
Like the Prince song or like the rock and roll band from the 70s? Yeah. I saw a tweet about them that was great where it's like Kiss's like makeup and onstage banter is like, "Are you ready to enter the seventh circle of hell?" And then when they start playing music, they're like, "Rockin' is cool and rockin' is fun." And did you catch what the reference is for Alexander or Thunder McQueen's stand is? I believe this
Steve McQueen? No. Yes?
No, not his namesake, his stand's namesake.
Fucking suicide.
It was like
Shit.
Freeway Through Hell.
Oh, Highway to Hell.
Highway to Hell, the AC/DC Album Man song of the same name.
Wow.
And we'll talk about him and all that and the rest of the episode later on.
I have the disparity between Kiss's image and their music. I feel like the same thing happened with The Clash. When I first listened to The Clash, I was like, oh, this isn't that punky. Like, it's like pretty poppy, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they were one of those bands that started out more raw and then added a bunch of like melody in and musicianship after the fact. But I don't know. I think it's a different gap to have the like, "We're Satan's spawn," blah, 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 and then be like, "I love to party."
Yeah.
It's like stupid.
Yeah.
Well, kind of Black Sabbath is kind of like that too, because Crazy Train's like, "Crazy.
That is
We're having
true.
such fun. I love this song."
Wait, is Crazy Train Black Sabbath or is it Ozzy Osbourne?
It's Black Sabbath.
Okay, so Iron Man is Ozzy Osbourne, right?
I don't know.
Wait, with the song that Miles was just singing.
No, Crazy Train is Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, the song that I recognize it because that's the theme. There's a version of it that's the theme of the Osbournes, which I used to watch a long time ago.
Well, he was the singer for Black Sabbath.
Okay, that's what I was
well.
going to ask.
But yeah, that's the thing is it is
It
a
was
little
like
bit more upbeat.
it was a song that he did solo.
Yeah, it's from his debut solo album.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
The Osbournes theme was like, I don't know, like it was like
it
a
was like
cover
a
of
Richard
it.
Cheese version, right? Where it's like crazy.
But
that's how it goes. Yeah, it's like more
millions of people.
loungy, jazzy. Do you know how many kids the Osbournes have, by the way?
There's the two that were on the show, and then I think there's at least one other one that's not on the show.
There's like one or two that are not on the show.
Yeah, good for them.
I found that out because there's an
hideous.
episode where they go and they look at these like stones that are outside in their yard, and it says like Jack and not Sharon, the other one's name Kelly, and then there were two that were like mosaiced out, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And then it's like, oh yeah, they have other kids, they just don't want to be on
like
TV.
The unspoken children.
Yeah, but anyway, this podcast is about the anime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. We're going to talk about episode 6, but before we talk specifically about the events of the episode, we need to first read our emails. Was that good?
Yes.
Yeah, I liked it.
Good pun? Okay, I thought it was awful, but I had to do it. These are emails that listeners write, and they write to jojosbizarrepod@gmail.com. Feel free to write to us if you have thoughts on things we missed in that week's JoJo or an anime you want to recommend us, or, whatever.
This email is from Justin. The subject line is Ermes. or Hermes. Hello, JJB Pod. Please forgive me, my smooth-voiced podcastly friends, for I have not written in a while. Sounds like a prayer. Just got done catching up through my backlog of episodes I needed to get through, and finally got here to the episode featuring one of my JoJo characters. Is this supposed to be one of my favorite JoJo characters?
I think so.
Okay, Justin invented this JoJo character. Hermes is the gorgeous, strong, independent spitfire of a woman the series has been missing outside of Lisa, and I'm here for it. Hope all is well with you, and I'll be recovering from my wounds soon enough. Mark, so be ready to play some HFTF again soon. What's HFTF?
Miles, guess the acronym. Miles, go.
Hot, funny, teacher friends.
It's Heritage for the Future. It's the JoJo fighting game.
It sounds like a
Sincerely,
pro-eugenics fighting game.
Oh no!
Oh no! I guess it does.
Heritage.
Anytime you mention heritage, inheritance, genetics, Miles will accuse you of being a eugenicist.
Doesn't it sound like a think tank?
It sounds like an evil think
for-
tank. Absolutely, it does.
It sounds like a white supremacist organization.
Yeah, the future of our children. Whose children?
Thanks, Justin, for
yes,
writing in.
and good games, Justin. We played a few JoJo fighting gamey games.
Who won?
I did. Well,
take that, Justin, stupid.
I wasn't sure if you would
He-
say that or.
well,
if
he
you
wrote
would...
"recovering from my wounds." It's not like I'm,
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I played a bit.
Mark beats a lot of people in in specifically fighting
no,
games.
that's not true.
Yeah, fuck him.
People who don't play fighting games
People
lose
who,
to me.
people who don't play competitively lose to you.
Yeah, that's true. Because I'm more than casual.
Mark's
baby.
in between casual and competitive.
That's right. That's good. That's good. I like that. I played it in our fan Discord, the JoJo's Bizarre Podcast Discord, that someone runs for us and we do not participate in. Yeah, we do.
Shout out to Aaron.
Shoutouts to Aaron. We do not participate in running the Discord, but we are
That's
in
right.
there.
Take all your complaints to Aaron, Aaron.
So if you want to play the JoJo's fighting game or Street Fighter or something, you might find me in there. This next email. I enjoyed that. Whatever. This email is from Kenny. Subject line is this a Cars reference? So after last week's pod, I had an idea as to why Whitesnake wasn't stealing the discs from John Golly A to use them for himself. It's because he can't. Manhattan Transfer uses airflow to sense its targets, but John Golly still has to hit it with a bullet and tell its stand where to go. But Manhattan Transfer doesn't have eyes, and John Golly is blind. He's using his natural ability to interpret the data that Manhattan Transfer gets him, like when he was able to sense where to drop the bullet to squish a fly. So if someone else were using Manhattan Transfer, they wouldn't be able to do anything with it because they don't have his natural abilities.
And
And
doesn't have the skills.
Yep. And some random thoughts Kenny has about this week's episode. Ermes adapts incredibly fast to her power. Points out that the music changes with every mood swing of McQueen. I did not notice that. Emporio turned into an Araki self-insert. Like, why does he know everything about the discs and how to electrocute yourself? And Araki makes a reference to Cars 7 years before the movie comes out. Thunder McQueen, Lightning McQueen? But for real, the namesake for Thunder McQueen is actually fashion designer Alexander McQueen, who committed suicide in 2010. How ironic. Because yes, this takes place in 2011, but it came out in 2000. So, yeah, strangely, this guy, I don't think he knew about the manga.
He predicts the future.
That's pretty much all for now. Have a nice week. Cheers, Kenny. P.S. Every time Hermes wants to give me her panties, I wake up feeling so confused, but secretly horny.
That was a funny scene.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I think this is a good theory, Kenny.
Yeah, it makes sense. You wouldn't be able to do shit with Manhattan Transfer.
Yeah.
Unless, well, I mean, I guess you could shoot around the corner with it. But yeah, you wouldn't really know what it was feeling.
What other stands do you need like a skill? I feel like Trendy Tonio Trussardi, like you have to be a good cook, I think, maybe to use his stand.
Yeah, otherwise people wouldn't want to eat your food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other stands that work like in tandem and stuff. I mean, Whole Horse's Emperor gun, like I think he has to be a decent shot.
Yeah.
Like he can curve bullets and stuff, but you got to know. Maybe Mista has to be a good like manager to his little bullet friends, his little bullet riders, so they work together and trust him.
I love Mista.
He's good.
This next email is from Leah. The subject line is Ranma and gender stuff. Good morning, JJB Pod. It's been great listening to y'all about Stone Ocean after so long. I've been kind of spotty with listening after part 5 ended, mostly dropping in when I saw you'd watch something I was either already familiar with or interested in hearing about, so I noticed immediately when the Ranma episode went up, but only just got around to listening. I was really happy to hear you talk about the show's possible appeal to LGBT folks. As a trans woman myself, I can confirm that it was extremely important to me, even if I didn't realize it when I first watched it, and I still love it very much, even though it's not necessarily great representation of being trans or gender fluid. It was never going to be, it's not supposed to be, and I think that's fine. Though what was more important to me personally were the thoughts and realizations it got rolling when I watched it in middle school. I don't understand what Ranma's problem is. Who wouldn't want to be a cute girl if they could? A lot of people, as it turns out. It took a long time and a lot more gigantic red flags I would eventually begin to notice for me to figure out what that disconnect meant, but this show really pushed me in the right direction. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I appreciate all of you and the humor y'all bring into my day. Leah. P.S. Miles, your ad read for Anchor is wonderful. It makes me smile every time. P.P.S. Chad, you sounded great. Thanks, Leah. It's because it's a product I genuinely believe in.
Nice.
Thanks, Leah.
It's sort of a shame for me because I was thinking recently, I was like, I'm going to make Miles record a 30-second version of that ad. It's too long.
Can we
and then we got this email and I was like, well, I can't do that.
Can we just turn the ad into like a song? We should change it up occasionally. I think we should write a song for it.
I don't know how to do it as a song. And if I heard Miles sing at the beginning of a podcast, that would come right out of my feed. I would not continue listening to it. Sorry, Miles.
It longer, I guess.
No, that's not what we want. It was already longer, and I shortened it. Anyway, thanks for writing, Leah.
Thanks for sharing your story, Leah.
That's why I read like a different like person's take on the show, because I was like, I bet this has meant something for LGBT people, but I'm not just going to sit here and guess.
Yeah.
Since
cool
the new Matrix is out, I've been reading that a lot of people had the same experience with the original movies, and like obviously I did not pick up on it because I was a teen and I was like, cool gun stuff. But
yeah,
I would be interested in watching it again through that lens.
Yeah, and I've also heard that a lot of people found their gender identity
Gentlemen
when playing online games where you can choose your avatar.
Yeah.
Because then you kind of sculpt it to what you like and what you want to be, and then you kind of realize what your tendencies are. And
that's also a moment where you might say to yourself, well, who wouldn't want to be a cute girl if you have the chance? And then you learn, oh, wait, I guess other people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's something that Leah referenced. So I was just like, oh, that might be another occasion for that.
Yeah.
But being online is nice because you can try out like introducing yourself to a new set of people, and like they accept like that's who you are. And then like I've met a lot of trans people through like online communities, and I didn't know that they were trans at first, and then eventually it like, you know, they come out. But like, yeah, I don't know. Online is a good place to find like a nice community that will just like accept you, and you don't have to do any kind of, I don't know, like there's no like judgment.
Yeah, it's just what you say. It's just your brain.
Yeah.
Floating out there.
Yeah, it's just different brains talking to each other,
yelling at each other.
Yeah.
Writing mean things, but you can always just fade away.
No, but you find your nice communities where people are nice to each other.
Yeah, if they exist. They exist for like a month, and then there's drama, and you're like, ugh.
That's true. Once it gets to a certain size, there's drama.
Yeah. Often that is correct.
Yeah. This email is from Santiago. Subject line is my queen. This episode was insane. One of the reasons I really like Stone Ocean is because Araki just went ham while creating most of the stands and made them a lot more experimental. Highway to Hell, this week's enemy stand, is such a stupid idea for a power, but I feel like Araki really makes it work here and turns a rather grim subject into a somewhat lighthearted episode. I don't know if you'll agree, But to me, this episode was a lot of fun. Also, since Mark with a K.
Who is that?
Since Mark asked, I watched the second season of the Rohan live action and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it as much as the first season, but this time around there is an episode that opens a lot of doors, dare I say heaven's door, for what might happen in the future. But I'll contain my excitement for now. We can discuss all of that when you guys watch it. P.S. I really like Whitesnake's voice. And then there's a video attachment.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
Should we open a video attachment? I'm opening it on my phone. Okay. What is this? Okay.
It's just Whitesnake's English voice saying McQueen.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's Japanese actually. I don't know.
Japanese, I think.
Okay.
McQueen.
Sounds like he's saying like my queen. He's like a chess player. When you take his queen, he's like my queen. Oh no.
I don't like Whitesnake's voice. I decided this very episode.
Wow. I like it.
I think it's like goofy.
I think it's creepy.
The English one is a little goofy to me, but the Japanese one, it works for me. I might have made it more robot-y if I had my druthers. I'd make it sound like Morpheus in Deus Ex. Hit me up if you know about Morpheus. He's on YouTube. You can find all the Morpheus conversations on YouTube. It's very good. Anyway, this last email is from Chad, and the subject line is sealed with a kiss on the highway to hell. Aloha JJB Pod Ohana. Right off the bat, Chad gives the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-TALK. Because, guess what, folks? This episode, we're going to talk about suicide. Because it comes up a bunch. But
it's also, like, really silly.
It's really silly.
Very silly.
Yeah, if you're ever feeling silly, don't commit suicide. Take it seriously and then don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a fun activity to do in a jail. Anyway, here's Chad's email. He didn't say any of that. It was fun to finally see Ermes in action this week after disappearing for the last 3 episodes. Her Stan's ability is definitely a new type of power I don't think we've seen before. Meanwhile, her opponent, Xander McQueen, felt to me both pitiable and despicable all at once with a strange stand ability of his own. Here is the JoJo voice connection I found. Living content warning, Xander McQueen shares his voice actor with the Phantom Blood movie version of Undead Vampire Knight Bruford and the two-faced vampire lackey Nukesaku from the Part 3 TV series. As always, I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Mahalo, Chad. P.S. What do you all think of the kamikaze type stands? As in stands that have the powers that either put their user at risk of dying or don't do anything unless their user dies. Besides Highway to Hell, we've also had Notorious Big, and I think at least 1 or 2 more, so it's not just a one-off thing. Thanks for writing,
Living content
Chad.
warning is very funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the deal. Look, attitudes were different 22 years ago by Jeebus.
What are the attitudes?
Back in 2000, it was like, haha, suicide. Who cares? It's funny.
Yeah. I think people still, there's dark humor. This didn't make it seem dark though. I feel like. I was fine with this. Then again, I never think anything is dark.
Wow. You're darker than night.
I'm like, no, that wasn't dark. It was funny.
Yeah, I think they did it in a way where it didn't feel like this would be a real person anyway. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later. I like the kamikaze stand.
How is Notorious Big a kamikaze?
He doesn't do anything. He just walks at them and they kill him. Cardine, the user. And then his stand just like attacks you in the plane and you can't do anything really because he's dead. You can't kill the user.
Oh.
And he seems invincible, but somehow Spice Girl defeats him by making him like bounce into shit. I forget how she kills him ultimately.
I'm confusing Big with what was the name of the gorilla stand?
Strength.
Strength.
Mm-hmm.
Notorious Big gets tossed into the ocean, right?
What was the name of the
gorilla?
That
might be it. The gorilla's
like
name was Forever, which is a Wu-Tang album.
Okay, that's what I was confusing it.
There's other 90s rappers coming, don't worry.
Yeah. There haven't been that many.
Oh, just you wait.
Okay.
Part 8 has a wonderful West Coast rapper, not the rapper himself, but a song or actually album of his.
Okay.
That is
there's a
very funny.
There's just a stand called Doggy Style or whatever.
That is exactly what it is.
That's
Okay.
what I would have guessed as well.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, I don't know what else I could really do with that wouldn't be. I'm trying to think of what the Dre albums are called or something. I guess Tupac. There could be a stand called All Eyes on Me
Mm-hmm.
if he.
Yeah.
Doggy Style is just a like. What a silly.
Yeah.
You'll
like,
never guess what the
why?
power is though, because I'm not spoiling it, but
Just he hits it from the back. That's it.
nope.
No.
That's right, baby.
If only it has nothing to do with that. I'll tell you later if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, his power is he doesn't look you in the eyes.
Oh.
Anyway,
Are those all the emails?
those are all the emails. Again, those were sent to JoJo's Bizarre
Thanks,
Pod
Chad.
at gmail.com. Thanks very much, Chad.
Thanks, Justin and
Santiago and Leia
and Kenny.
and Justin.
Yeah, I
Uh,
said Justin and Chad.
okay. And thank you. You know what? Thank you, Jackie,
For what?
for being here and doing the pod with me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We also have a Patreon that you can go to by heading to patreon.com/jjbpod. If you want to support the show, help us out. It starts at just $1 a month. It also gets you access to the Patreon feed where we'll upload extra content, the occasional bit of video, or cut audio from the episode, Miles's weekly cultural reference newsletter, and whatever else we feel like. And if you pledge at the $3 level, it's the same, but you'll feel better about yourself, and we will say thank you out loud on the podcast like this. So thank you so much to Ken Barron, Kasoon, Caleb, Jumbo, Katie, Bloof, Dylan, Nocturnal, Kenny, Caden, Nick, Austin, Tim, Tyler, Martin, Michael, Christian, and Chad. You all make the world go round in our eyes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're the best. Around. Okay, we don't need a break, do we? Should we just keep on trucking?
I'm okay.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay, so yes, as stated, this is episode 6 of the anime called Ermes Sticker. It adapts chapters 21 through 25 of the original manga. And my favorite original chapter title that could have been a title for this episode is chapter 23 was originally called Fellow Travelers to Hell.
Okay.
And I really like that one.
Mm.
I also noticed there were no chapter comments this time, so we don't get to hear Araki talk about the dentist or whatever.
Mm.
But since we've basically finished what made up volumes 1 and 2, I will tell you that we missed talking about volume 1 comment, which is Araki sort of explains why this JoJo is a woman.
Oh.
It says, the protagonist of JoJo Part 6 is a woman. Why a woman? Woman in like the big quotes he likes to do.
Why a woman?
That's where it gets tricky.
Woman.
She's a JoJo protagonist, so she's got to be tough enough to not get disheartened even if she gets punched in the face. But sometimes she might be crawling around a ditch, or she might have her legs spread open and fall from the top of a building. Having it be a woman is a bit of a tricky setup. But thinking about that gap, it actually seemed interesting, and it could be a person with great humanity like the Virgin Mary. I felt I just had to make the protagonist a woman. There is no insight there. I did not understand what he's talking about.
He's saying that he thought it would be an interesting challenge to write a woman. That's what I'm getting from that.
Well, it just feels like he's saying like she's got to be tough, but she might also fall off buildings and stuff like a woman or something.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's weird, but okay.
Like when you're a woman, JoJo, you got to think about like, well, what if my legs are all spread open?
What if I fall down the stairs because I'm a klutz?
Women always be falling off buildings.
What if I got to be crawling through a dirty ditch?
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's him definitely thinking about cribbing Shawshank Redemption. Although that was not a dirty ditch, it was a shit pipe.
Yeah, I think he wanted a challenge, and then he's just talking about all the things that he had to think about differently. You know, 'cause she had to be just as tough, but it's a woman. Oh no! So now we think about women in a certain way. The fact that he mentions the Virgin Mary, like what?
Well, that to me is the most clear like example of like, okay, well, I guess that is you thinking of a woman. You know what I mean? Is like thinking of women as like innocent and like important for giving birth to God.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
That at least makes some sense. I'm not saying I agree with it or whatever. Jolene's no Mary.
No. She's very different.
I'm going to paste in the chat just since it is like another block of text, but I thought this was funny. This was at the end of the collected volume 2, or beginning, I don't know. There's another comment from Araki. Could one of you guys read it? Let's have Miles
I'll
read
do
it. Yeah.
Observation of the nature surrounding us. Number 4. Last year I contracted gastritis due to stress, they say. During that period I had heard of the European proverb, "He who cultivates tomatoes is never ill." I thought, really? Let's try this. Thus, I've begun to cultivate tomatoes. I bought some flower display cases for 2,300 yen, fertilizer and compost around 1,000 yen, stakes 200 yen, tomato seeds 140 yen. In brief, for 3 seedlings I had to pay 10,920 yen. If I harvest 10 tomatoes, how much would one of them yield? To be continued.
Yes, that's the level of analysis that Araki kept up after volume 1. It was much like the weekly chapter release where he has no idea what to say. He was like, anyway, I picked Jolene because I think about women like this. Next, he's like, Dear Diary.
This reminds me of like a viral tweet that I saw where it was like, oh, if someone gave you, a lump sum of like $1 million, or like, would you rather a lump sum of $1 million or $20 a month for the rest of your life?
What?
And it was like something that like obviously you would take the $1 million because it wouldn't add up to like the $20 a month or whatever. It was like $50 or whatever it was a month.
You already are getting $20 a month. Like
I forget. I don't. It might not have been 20. Whatever the number was, it still wouldn't have added up to like it would have taken you like a million years to get $1 million. I think let's say it was like $100 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever. Let's say it was $1,000 a month. But anyway, and then he's like, I would take the that monthly payment, and I would plant because with that amount you can start a business or whatever. And then someone like responds, or I think he responds like, I would plant this many tomatoes, but then don't sell the tomatoes. Then you use those tomatoes to grow more tomatoes, and then suddenly you have 1 million tomatoes. And if you sell 1 million tomatoes for $1 each.
I think I did see that, yeah. And people were like, you can't just grow tomatoes for free. They need like land and upkeep and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
And you need a lot of land to grow that many tomatoes. And like you can't just like all sell them at once. Like anyway.
It's very dumb.
It reminds me of that tweet.
Also, like businesses fail, tomato prices change.
Yeah.
It's very stupid. You know what I used to hate is when you talk about getting money in a lump sum or not, and people would be like, I'd hate to get $1 million all at once because taxes take like half of it. I'm like, oh, you couldn't use $500,000.
Yeah.
That's nothing to you. That's peanuts.
Right.
Don't give me that shit. Don't even waste my time with half a mil. Silly.
Yeah.
Miles, any online axes you want to grind? Any made up stories that you want to yell at like we're doing?
No.
Okay, good. That was a test, and you passed.
So anyways, he spent like $100 to harvest 10 tomatoes. Right?
Something like that. I mean, I'd like to hear now. I mean, I'd like to hear what else he has, how did he do?
Yeah.
What else has he cultivated?
Mm-hmm.
He feels...
And has he ever been ill? Because it says he who cultivates tomatoes is never ill. Has he ever been ill?
So I Googled that and found no evidence whatsoever that is a phrase anybody says. Zero evidence that he who cultivates tomatoes is never ill. I don't even know what that should mean.
That's so funny.
Maybe it's like because this is translated from Japanese, and he translated it into Japanese probably from English. What was the European?
He said European.
So it could have been like French or somebody. I don't know, some other languages up in Europe.
Foreign language speakers who live in Europe.
Has anyone ever heard of tomatoes meaning you're never ill? Cultivating them specifically.
It's very silly.
And if you cultivate tomatoes, let us know if you're ever ill or if you're making millions of dollars off of selling 1 million tomatoes.
Lastly, something I wanted to do is play a game of Twister. And I just pull out a Twister map. Is take a look at the JoJo'veler comments. Did you guys remember this? Where it's about, Araki put out that art book, and there's a little book that includes all of his comments on stands. And I thought maybe we could take a look at it. I'm going to share my Thunder mixed screen with you. So I'm gonna start here. Do you guys see?
What is this? I mean, I see it. You just explained it. I understand. But what is
I can see it.
It's Araki
okay.
explaining in like 2 sentences
Right.
about the
Okay.
stands.
And this is each stand for this season? Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So for Stone Free, Araki says, there's more focus on how Jolene has to tear her body apart to fight than on the design. For its fashion, I tried to keep it from looking like any previous stand. I like the python pattern shoulder pads.
I like the shoulder pads too.
Jackie, can you read this?
All right. Google Dolls. Goo Goo Dolls. Kind of looks like Poco Loco stand from part 7, doesn't it? Like it's someone you can make small talk with when you're lonely. I think its design is a mummified monkey. I really like the hairband that its host, Gwes, wears.
He writes like he's not the one who...
Yeah, who invented it.
Yeah.
Like, I really like... No, you came up with it. Why did you come up with it?
I'm noticing minor spoilers here and there, so I'm going to click and then run away if it doesn't work. Okay. Miles, can you read this one?
This is Manhattan Transfer, designed to look like a sort of plant. There's a plant that looks like this and flies around. It grows in the tropics, so it's pretty large and fluffy. Then I modified it to seem more like a satellite or stealth fighter. A flying plant, huh?
Yeah. And I'm going to stop as I read. You guys can't see anymore, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, White Snake. The symbols representing the bases in DNA and my image of an executioner. Digital media had become standard, so it extracts large amount of information as disks. I really like its design and the stand users as well.
Of course you like it. You invented it.
I know. Sticks kisses stickers onto things. That's all. Ha ha ha. Again, I was careful not to make the stand's silhouette too similar to those of her allies. Ermes' position in the story is kind of like a female version of Polnareff.
Highway to hell. Highway to hell. I needed to lift someone up to make them commit suicide. What? I needed to lift someone up to make them commit suicide, and I thought it would be cooler to use propellers than rope. Okay. Characters in JoJo are generally optimistic, but this guy's optimistic about attempting suicide. Laughs. He sounds like an old man jokey person.
He is. He gardens, for God's sake.
I don't know. Reading that, I for some reason, I was thinking of your mom, Mark.
Yeah, just like the way there's an exclamation point after something that's like kind of fucked up, and you're like, what? That feels a little bit like my mom.
Yeah.
I like my mom, there was a period of time where her emails, caps lock would just get turned on in the middle of a sentence. And she'd even write like, I don't know how to turn this off, and then just send the email anyway. I was like, that's right. Don't proofread when sending to your son. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Do you want to go through the episode beat by beat? Because I can do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So it starts out where we get a little bit of a narration from Jolene. She's in the punishment ward. So remember last episode, she like kind of escaped and they kind of caught her, but she kind of gave herself back in. Anyway, she's in the punishment ward, whatever that means. I'm assuming that's like
solitary confinement, right?
Yeah, solitary. So she's in the punishment ward. Maybe they, this is like a weird prison that does, it's all about freedom. So maybe the solitary confinement is, maybe punishment ward is something different, And they also added an additional 5 years to Jolene's sentence. We learned that in the beginning. Some guy comes and steals Ermes's money. So she's like in like we find out it's a hospital bed, but she's like in bed and her legs are like exposed.
Open. Oh.
Yeah, and they're also open. And then you see like a guy's hand come and like kind of caresses her leg. And then he steals money from...
I think from her panties.
Okay.
Because his hand goes near her crotch. But Jackie, what would you call the clothing she's wearing in that scene?
It's like a long t-shirt or like a t-shirt dress.
It's like a t-shirt.
It's like a t-shirt dress.
Okay, because I don't know.
It's like a hospital gown, but fashionable.
Yeah, it's not a romper, right? Rompers turn into, they have leg holes. They're not like a skirt.
Yeah, I think rompers are
Correct.
like shorts.
Okay. All right. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, so he steals her money, and then she kind of like wakes up. She's like asleep. She kind of like wakes up and is like, "Hey, why don't you come back here with my money, you jerk?" And she notices she has a sticker in her hand. She's like she's in like the infirmary. She's like, what happened to her that she was like sick or something?
She says like, I woke up, I cut my hand, and then I fell asleep, and the doctors say you had a infection probably.
Okay, so now she has like a sticker on her hand, and it has a kiss on it, right? It has a little kiss.
It's got lipstick imprints and like a recycle square arrow icon.
Okay,
I think it looks like a retweet almost, but a retweet you kissed.
Yeah.
Aw.
And then she has a flashback where it kind of says how she got there, where she picked up she was I guess in the visitor area or whatever. She found a charm on the floor, like it looked like it was like in between, like it was gonna go through the
into the sewer.
To the sewer.
It's where Jolene threw it.
Yeah, and so she grabs it, and when she grabs it, she gets stabbed by it because this fucking thing is just like super dangerous.
It's a menace.
Yeah. And so she gets stabbed by it, and then she says that she sold it to Gwess afterwards. And she's like, have I been bedridden ever since? Because that was the last thing that she remembers. And then she like repeats to her, she's like, Columbus sailed the ocean in 1942.
That's
Bugs Bunny's birthday.
Definitely not the year, Jackie.
1492. And Bugs Bunny's birthday is July 27th, 1940.
Right. In the manga, Ermes actually checks Mickey Mouse's birthday in her head, and it's November 18th. But I guess they got real scared at Disney here, and they decided to switch it to Bugs Bunny. Which makes sense because I think Warner technically owns this anime. Technically, the JoJo anime is under the Warner Media umbrella. So they could talk about bugs all they want. Maybe there'll be a stand called Daffy Duck. And he can turn his beak around when he blows up. Anyway. So she checks to make sure she's not dreaming or something, or to make sure her memory is there, because she gets like, she checks her clipboard and sees that she's had like 26 exams but doesn't remember them.
Is this Bugs Bunny's like canon day he was born, or is it the day that Bugs Bunny like debuted?
It's a great question, yeah, because I feel like Bugs Bunny wouldn't want to date himself at all. Like, he wouldn't be like, today's my birthday, July 20. I don't think he would do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? I'll find out. Don't worry.
His first appearance.
Who would know that?
A Wild Hair, July 27, 1940.
Who would know Bugs Bunny's birthday?
A JoJo character.
Who would know Mickey Mouse's birthday?
Mickey Mouse fans. People, I think, are more likely to know Disney history than they are to know Warner Brothers history. You know, like everyone knows Steamboat Willie, the first cartoon that Mickey Mouse was in.
Yeah.
Not everyone knows whatever the fuck Bugs Bunny showed up in first.
The real answer is Araki.
Yes, of course.
Well, no, you know what? Maybe because this takes place in the U.S., he was like, what would an American know? You know? And that's why he went with Mickey Mouse / Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
You know? Like maybe for him it was like some...
Yeah. We all know about Columbus, our patron saint.
Right. Yeah, that made sense. It's American.
Patron saint, Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Okay, Bugs Bunny was in a few shorts, but is widely credited to have debuted in the Oscar-nominated A Wild Hair from 1940.
I think I've seen it.
Oh.
I think because I remember seeing a really, really old Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Let's watch all the Oscar-nominated movies ever, but they're all only the cartoons.
Okay.
I like that idea. And then we can just be like, I really like the shading.
Anyway, so then she, her sticker ends up on one of her shoes, and then she notices she has an extra shoe. And she's like, what the fuck? And then she goes and she takes that sticker. No, she doesn't take it, but she gets another sticker. Like, she keeps seeing stickers are stuck to her hand. So she takes it, and then like she's trying to count. She's like, I have 3 shoes. She's like, I'm supposed to have 2. She counts, and then she sees that her hands, that she has an extra finger because there was a sticker on her finger, and it was scary. And then she takes the sticker off. There's like stickers everywhere, and she takes the sticker off her finger, and it like snaps back, and they forge back together.
Yeah,
they combine again, and it looks like it hurts.
Yeah, blood does shoot out, and when the shoes recombine, they are like partially broken.
Yeah, so she's like, okay, there's this weird power that when my sticker attaches to an object, that object is duplicated, and when the sticker is removed, the duplicate and the original combine back together, and it causes
Damage.
damage. Yeah. That was a little confusing to me at first. But
Yeah,
especially the
not,
damage part. Especially the damage part.
it's not 100% clear, but it just seems like maybe Araki saw like the animation of like things slamming back together and was like, that should hurt.
Mm.
You know, because like if you've ever seen like sci-fi or something where things like merge into one, you're kind of like, it looks like it should really damage it. And then he did it. So that's her power.
So she gets the hang of her power pretty quickly, because then she uses it to attack that janitor that stole her money. She like puts a sticker on his mop and makes it hit her or something. I don't know how she attacks him.
She makes it hit him.
Yeah.
I don't get. She would have had to have put a mop. She would have had to stick the mop before he like left. This is weird, right?
I don't know.
Is that the deal that she duplicated it?
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe
I guess it's like a jump.
Yeah.
It's like a jump ahead, right?
Maybe she didn't actually use her sticker power. I don't know. But
No, she definitely did.
Okay.
I think it is a jump ahead. Yeah. So something happened for her to set up this trap.
Yeah, and he falls to the ground and he has 2 CDs being ejected out of his head.
Okay, I have questions.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
We had thought that Whitesnake will get your CDs to pop out when you use your stand.
When you use your stand.
So what's the deal here? Because it's the only thing I could think of is like if these broomsticks really hurt the janitor, McQueen, was he already like doing the mirror damage effect to someone else? And so his head got hit really hard and then someone in the prison elsewhere got their head hit really hard. And so that let Whitesnake steal his CDs? Or is this just complete like
This is a good question. I think Araki's already
non-conformity with his own rules?
He's already breaking his rules because I don't think he was using because you have to use your powers. You're right in order to make the CDs pop out.
That's what you guys decided.
That's what he says in the episode right before.
Yes. I don't know.
It makes me wonder if something else is going on. Like, I don't know. So is it established that he had a stand before encountering Whitesnake?
No.
But how would he get a
don't know.
stand? How would he get a stand? I thought you needed to be stabbed by this charm now.
Maybe he puts a CD in
Maybe
your head
he had
and it
a
works.
CD shoved in his head. And if that happens, maybe it pops out of you when you get hit hard enough. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. They also pop out at the end too, like he's a toaster. And toasters do have electricity through them. So I did read, as I was reading the manga for this episode, I saw the in-between chapter stuff where there's some explanation of things. So Whitesnake, the stand, works that it says something like the juices, like while they digest you, while they're melting you, they also melt your heart, which I think in this case in the Japanese, what they mean is like your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like
or your soul.
The kanji is like person's heart, but that like literal translation that I saw online called it like one's mind.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that it does somewhat melt your mind, which to me makes sense because that's also why they would hallucinate and dream these weird dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it puts you to sleep, and then while you're being digested, even though Jolene and Jotaro seem to take no damage, he's able to extract your CDs somehow. And the other thing was I got clarity. I think there's like an in-between chapter thing where Emporio explains that if you have both CDs removed, it's like you have no soul. They both comprise the mind or the soul.
Yeah.
And so if you lose them, you lose all will to live. And you will die unless you're on life support, in which case you'll be like in a coma.
Mm.
So that does seem to mean that shouldn't Jotaro be dead, or does it take time? Do they put him on a machine?
He's dead, man.
Is he
I
like
don't
laying
know.
on the beach? Like I hope somebody
don't
came
know.
for him and hooked him up to some kind of machine.
He's fucking dead, bro.
That's my favorite album, Jotaro Dead on the Beach.
He's just fucking lying there. He's getting eaten by like fucking seagulls.
Crabs.
Yeah. Crabs are poking at him. Seagulls are
Anyway.
biting his eyes.
So Ermes notices this janitor where she fucks him up with the broomstick trick.
The discs are ejected. She takes one, but not the other. And
Yeah, she's not greedy.
and then she's going around looking for him because I guess he's took her money. Is that why she's looking for him?
She wants to give him his CD back.
Does she really? Because she never actually gives it back to him.
That's true.
I think she just wants her money back. Maybe a trade. Like, I'll give you your CD back if you give me my money. I don't know. But she notices. She's like, "What is this? It's like a CD. It's shiny, but it's rubbery. It's like bendy."
Yeah, she doesn't touch the goo that's on it either, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then she looks at it and she's able to see a video in there.
Yeah, it's like kind of projecting something on the surface of it.
It's like a laser disc.
Yeah. And it's kind of like it looks like it's his last moments. It's like his memories.
Yeah, and it's him talking. Well, it's more Whitesnake
like,
talking to him.
No, he's like, haha, I got this money and I'm going to hide it in this place. And so he hides the money. And then Whitesnake is like, hey, man, you're a piece of shit. Like, help me out.
You're a huge piece of shit, and I like that about you.
He really says that later. There's like a flashback later where he's like, hey, man, you're a big piece of shit and you should help me.
Yeah, he says something in the manga where he's like, you are truly evil, but you have no maliciousness to you. You have no like willful, like, you know, malintentions, but you're definitely evil because you're so self-involved and you don't care.
He kind of tells him that his like life is a waste or something. He kind of makes him feel bad about himself.
Well, he says like, you think everything's about you because you try to blame everything on yourself. So I don't know. This whole episode and stand feels like Araki's thoughts on suicide, and he's basically just saying that he thinks it's harmful to everyone around you and that it's selfish.
And that it's funny.
It's also very funny to him.
He thinks it's funny.
He thinks it's super funny.
And so it's not funny, everyone.
And he's like, McQueen, will you? Whitesnake is like, McQueen, will you join me? And
we don't hear the answer, really.
We don't hear the answer. And it looked like the CD was like stuck to her face.
It almost goes into her head
while she was trying to see the memories.
I think that this might be foreshadowing or implying that you can take someone else's stand or have it. So like maybe he
take their mememories and download them onto your brain.
Right. So maybe he was given his stand from someone else. Like maybe Whitesnake opened up a big CD wallet that had like, you know, look, 6x6 or 3x3, 4x4, like, and he just flipped through it and he's like, have this suicide one because you're selfish.
Yeah. And so she's in the bathroom while this is happening, and the janitor goes in the bathroom, and this is the janitor that she's been looking for, that stole her money, and he's like, oh, hey, I've never been stalked by a woman before. This shit would never happen, I feel like.
Which part? The suicide stand CD popping out of his head, or the thing where he says, I'm being stalked by a woman?
The janitor isn't going to come into the ladies' bathroom while there's still women in there. That's not you're not supposed to do that.
Well, maybe she went past like a wet floor, don't enter sign.
No, he came in while she was in there. He didn't do the janitor thing where you like kind of knock and you wait for all the women to leave.
I let them knock and then I stand there.
Also, in a woman's prison, like are the janitors going to be men?
Oh, well, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's like one side of the prison has dudes, but yeah.
I think he has like special privileges or something they were talking about. Maybe because he's like been on good behavior or something. I don't know.
Oh, no, you know what? She does later say when she like runs away from him, she's like, here's my discharge. Like I'm returning to the women's prison or something. So she might have been in like a mixed area because she was in the hospital
ward.
Yeah.
Those classic mixed areas in prison.
Yeah. They don't do that.
Well.
Yeah. And anyway, so he's like, oh, I've never been stalked by a woman before. And then she mentions the discs and whatever, like just, I don't know what the shit is. And he starts crying and he's like, I can't remember, what discs are you talking about? And he starts crying. And you know, she's like, dude, what's wrong? Are you okay, man? Da 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 da. And he's like, oh, did you just ask if I was okay? How nice. Oh, I haven't spoken to a woman in such a long time. This is all like a very silly interaction.
Very silly. And I want to say
she's trying to talk to him like seriously or something, and he's just, I don't know. He's just being silly. He's like a silly, non-real character. Yeah.
His name is Thunder McQueen in some translations, but you'll notice that Chad called him Xander McQueen because the katakana is just Sanda, so you can really read that either way. And apparently, at one point, his ID badge in the manga just says Alexander McQueen, who is the fashion guy that he's named after. If you look up Alexander McQueen, by the way, his Wikipedia article has a picture of him. And he does not look like a fashion icon at all. He just looks like a regular schnook. Just like a dude wearing like button-down shirt with jeans and like a sloppy goatee. And it's just like, how the fuck is this a guy whose last
Oh,
name
yeah.
is McQueen, right? Isn't he just like a regular ass schlub?
Yeah, he looks like he works in a regular ass office.
Yeah, or like GameStop or something.
But does he design men's clothing? Maybe
Uh,
he's really good at women's
He
clothing.
doesn't do shit now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a better designer than he is now.
I think he did do some stuff with women. There's like a controversies or something section where people speculated that he argued with some lady. I don't know.
Okay.
It is kind of fucked up that this character is named after him because he committed suicide.
But it was after the comic. Araki could not have known.
Yeah.
It was
if he-
fucking 9
Or
years
could he?
later. No.
What if he's like Rohan and when he wrote it down, he made it happen?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It
That's what I
is-
think is going on here.
Also,
Araki's a little bit of a murderer.
McQueen has an M in his hair. I don't know if you all noticed that.
Okay.
Has like an M in like his not bangs, but the front of his hair. And he also
It's for
has,
Miles.
He has that must be it. He has like a tag around his collar that, depending on when you watch the anime, I guess, it either says EDWN, like in the manga, or it says EOWN. It seems to have changed.
What are those
Oh
mean?
yeah, it's like Eowyn. It's like
I
a
have no
character
idea.
from Lord of the Rings.
Or-
Eowyn.
EDWN, which is like Edwin.
Mm.
I do not know. I could not figure that out. If any listeners,
What's
yeah, if you
what's
guys
he
know,
wearing on his butt?
I don't know. Why would I know that?
He's wearing
Oh.
like some sort of like I don't know what a cod
Maybe
piece. is
It's
what
like
you
a
call it.
chastity belt, like yeah, some kind of like iron underwear looking thing. I don't know. He's weird.
like the lady wore in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
It's exactly what I'm thinking of, Miles. Call the locksmith, etc. Good movie, Mel Brooks movie.
Anyway, so then he hangs himself
Yeah, but he makes the
like
fastest,
suddenly, very quickly.
Yeah, Hermes can do nothing. It's just like the super fast noose, and he's like, I want to die. Yeah.
Yeah, and
This is why prisons don't let you wear whatever you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
He should not have a belt.
yeah,
But that's the thing is if you just pay somebody in the prison like $30, you can wear whatever ridiculous JoJo clothing you want.
yeah.
I don't understand why this person is not already dead. He seems to be really proficient at harming himself.
I don't
and
know
willing.
if I agree, actually. Because when he tries to drown himself, he just like from a standing position throws himself into the sink, which I don't think would work. I think once you go limp, you would fall out of the fucking sink.
He was in the
That's
toilet,
true.
wasn't he?
And that was a sink.
Okay.
Oh God, in the toilet.
I don't know. I thought it was a
If
toilet.
someone were drowning themselves in the toilet, I'd be like, I am gonna let you do it because I wouldn't want to live past that.
Ew.
Gross.
I thought maybe because he lost his memory stand. Not stand. He lost his memory CD. Maybe it made him suicidal. That's what I thought. Like if you don't have your memory, it's like something's missing, and you want to, and you don't know who you are, or what you're doing, and then you want to die.
I don't think so, because White Snake talks about how selfish he is and thinks that he's like down on himself because he's selfish, and he has scars on his wrist from slashing them. I don't necessarily think those were like recent scars that Hermes noticed.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. I think he might just be bad at it, or they're like usually half-hearted. I don't know.
Okay.
So when he hangs himself, Hermes ends up getting thrown into the air, and this is where Araki was talking about needing to make them propellers, because it's like she needs to be hanged in the air. So we'll make it like a collar that has little propellers on it, and she gets lifted into the air and begins to suffocate.
Yeah, she's being choked by the helicopter in her neck. And I forget how she gets out of that.
She throws a sticker onto the belt noose, which duplicates it, and the duplicate thankfully gets closer to her. Then she peels the sticker off, and it slams back in and breaks the noose.
I got that. Okay.
By the way, rare time that the stand name has to do with the power, because it's like you jump into his car on the highway to hell.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's interesting.
So his stand power is that when he tries to kill himself, somehow he targets a specific person to go down with him.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the last person he talked to, someone he's thinking about, maybe. I don't think it's Radius, because when he tries to electrocute himself later, it probably wouldn't have been Hermes.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the description of his stand in between chapters is like, it's again Araki like guessing at his own creations. He's like, it could probably work if he starved himself. And it's like, well, why don't you know that? And it said explosions even. So if he blew himself up, you would blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Seems pretty fucked up.
Yeah. So he has a suicide stand. And then, she saves him and he's like, oh, I owe you for saving my life. And then he immediately tries to drown himself in the sink.
Yep.
And then she gets a little helicopter of water around her mouth.
Yeah, it's like a little inner tube, like a jelly ring that goes around her face. And I didn't catch it the first time I watched this, but she does something clever where in order to keep breathing, she
gets a second nose. She puts a sticker on her nose.
Yep.
Keep breathing.
She dupes her nose and then she's able to like breathe out of that. And she's like, this fucking guy. And she doesn't actually use a sticker in this case. I think she just grabs a broom or a mop and just smacks him with it so he falls out of the sink.
And he's like, let me die!
Yeah.
He just really wants to die.
And then she's
like, stay away from me or I'll kill you, which he's like, please do.
He's like, do it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I gotta go. And she just runs away.
And she takes the disc with her and he kind of says to himself, like, oh, she picked up a disc from the bathroom floor that I think belonged to me. Will she give it back to me? Probably not.
Yeah, in the manga, I think he also was like, I want to die. Like, he says it again.
Oh my
like,
God.
And so you know that he's going to go try it.
Mm.
And then as she's leaving to go back to her...
She's like going up some stairs.
Section, she's going down some stairs, I think.
And then she runs past Emporio.
Emporio, the baseball boy.
Yes. And he tells her about stands. And he tells her about how there's a memory disc and a stand disc. Or the soul album. It comes in pairs.
It's a double disc album, which I think we all know is usually not a great idea. Double disc album, except Nine Inch Nails is the Fragile. That's
the only good one.
The only good one.
So she took the memory one, and he has a stand without his memory, and he's suicidal. And now he's electrocuting himself because now she starts seeing cuts around on her arms and then electricity on her arm.
Yeah, it's pretty horrifying to imagine like bolts of electricity making holes in your body. I don't think that's how it works, but it looks painful.
Oh, I thought he was like cutting himself and then putting electricity for some reason.
Yeah, it does look like that, but I think when they go to him, he isn't doing that really.
Yeah.
And then Emporio strangely knows it's like, oh yeah,
you can't just die directly from electricity. You need. I guess because your body, I don't know, something
your
about
body
your body
has like a natural resistance, he says, but like this isn't necessarily true. Because like I know that if you're like working on electric stuff, if your hand is like if you have both hands touching something electrical, then like you form a loop that includes your heart.
Yeah.
And the electricity can go through your heart and kill you. So if you're ever messing with like electric shit in your house, kill the circuit or call a professional. Yeah. Or if you're like me, just wing it because you can do it. No, I'm
don't
kidding.
Wing it.
I almost died probably. So yeah, it's just weird that he's like, oh yeah, the human body can resist 100 ohm, whatever. And then he's like, he probably is getting saline because that can conduct electricity 1-to-1 and pierce your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he says salt water in the dub, but saline in the saline in the sheets, dub in the whatever the fuck. I don't know. I'm tired.
And she runs over to him and she's like, don't do it. You'll kill me. And she tells him, don't lie. There's lots of things that are lucky in life. And then he tells her about how he was like cleaning out his gun in his apartment. And at the same time, a woman tries to jump from, the woman above him tries to jump out of her window to kill herself. And in an unlucky moment, as he was cleaning his gun, it fired at the woman who was jumping off of the building.
It hit her midair.
And that's why he's in jail. Or not, right?
Yes.
He went to jail for
murder.
They say that he killed her, even though she was committing suicide and she just fell into his bullet.
So Jackie,
this is a thing, right?
Yeah, yes. Jackie, did this sound familiar to you at all?
No.
So you and I started, I've seen it a million times, but we started watching the movie Magnolia, and it is mentioned in the beginning of Magnolia. It's like a few stories of coincidence. And both of these are based on a fictional story.
Both of what?
the Magnolia story and this backstory for his stand.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the name of someone with the last name Mills, I believe. Harper Mills?
It's Ronald Opus.
Yes, the character's name is Ronald Opus.
The story was told by, Don Harper Mills.
But in that version of the story, it's a woman jumps off the roof to kill herself. A couple is arguing and the gun goes off and kills her, but there was a safety net that she would have landed in had he not shot her by accident.
Oh.
And the idea is it's supposed to illustrate the complexity of intent and stuff in homicide, because it's like the guy didn't even mean to shoot his wife because he normally would threaten her with an unloaded gun. And then they find out that the son had loaded the gun because he was angry with his mom for something. So was it the son's intention? Blah, blah, blah.
Ooh.
It is eventually ruled in that fictional story, though, that it is considered a suicide and no one gets prosecuted for homicide.
Okay.
But it is funny that this guy gets sentenced even though there was no net and she would have died.
Yeah.
But it's still like the bullet struck her, I guess, so...
Or maybe they just, like, the defense did a bad job, or somebody did a bad job of being able to prove that, like, she wasn't, like, in the, that's what happened, that she wasn't, like, in his apartment or something,
Yeah, did the anime show it at all?
Yeah.
Okay, because
the
manga, it looks like she's going to hit his balcony, which she might have survived. It's just, so it's like, yeah, that's not good, dude.
Right.
And why are you cleaning a loaded gun? What are you doing?
He probably didn't think it was loaded. You
check it.
You remove everything and then there's still one in the chamber or whatever.
Yeah, he says like one stuck in the barrel, which that's not how that works.
I don't know.
It's in the breech where it gets fired. You can't fire something in a barrel. What are you talking about? You don't even know.
Save it for your gun pod, Mark.
All right. Me and Katie are going to talk about competitive rifle shooting.
Okay.
And how to clean guns.
Anyway, so he tells her this story and Ermes is like, nah, man, like, there's things lucky, whatever. Like, oh, I bet if some cute girl gave you her panties, you would feel lucky. And so she's just like, yeah, she's like, oh, I'll give you my panties. And it's like a funny thing. And he's like, you'll really do that?
Yeah, she like pulls at like the side of her underwear. She like pulls it up and is like, oh, how embarrassing. It's very funny. It's a nice, cute sort of, I guess what they would call like a gap or gap moe. Because even though this is like her putting on a bullshit sentiment, but it's sort of like she's normally like a sort of like tough, deep voiced character, but then she's suddenly like, oh man, my underwear, like so it's fun to see that kind of switch up. So she's full of shit.
I don't know how much I really think this, but I wrote down, just say you'll fuck him. That's what I wrote down. Like, instead of giving your panties.
Yeah,
but...
I think the panties thing also, it works better in Japanese. I think that's more a thing that's, like, desirable. Whereas, like, I've definitely seen a few American movies make reference to stealing panties, but that's not generally a thing that we talk about. When I was a kid, and as a man...
Not us guys.
Yeah, Miles, like, I don't know, did you know anybody
we guys
like,
get together, we don't talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but when you're, like, a kid, is anybody like, oh, yeah, I got her panties. Like, I'm going to steal... her underwear. That's not like a thing, right?
Maybe like middle school or something.
When no one actually did it.
As much as we dare to imagine.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. To me, it's weird, and it was weird hearing the actress talk about it in the dub.
Yeah.
I thought the actress was really good, by the way.
Yeah.
The actress for Ermes, Tiana Camacho.
And he's like, oh, you're just pretend.
Tia Camacho.
Tiana, please get it right.
And then she says something
Tiana
about
Camacho on JoJo's Bizarre Podcast.
Please come on the podcast. Anyway, she says something about Mondays and how everybody hates Mondays, but then whatever. And I'm like, she talked about this in like the first episode where like she doesn't wear Monday panties, I guess.
What?
Or something,
what?
right?
I don't remember this.
Am I confusing this with something else?
I think so. She says, like, look, everybody...
Who am I thinking of? There's like, it's like a woman who her boyfriend broke up with her because she has panties for every day of the week, except for one day. I think it was Monday. And so the boyfriend thought that she was cheating on her because she was missing one from the set.
Miles, does any of this make sense to you?
I don't remember.
I don't remember this, Jackie.
I either know this really well because I saw like the beginning episode or two, like 5 times, or I'm thinking of a completely different
You're
show.
thinking of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something.
I might be thinking of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Listeners, write in. And oh, damn it. I Googled JoJo Panties Day of the Week and I found a 7-pack of girls' underwear themed around JoJo Siwa.
That sounds. Oh, okay. Never mind. That's a different
Nope.
JoJo.
It's just a bunch of websites trying to sell me underwear.
Well, why does she say all this shit about Mondays then? I think my explanation makes perfect sense.
No, she says everyone hates Mondays, but we all know a Saturday is rolling around. It's not always Mondays.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, I was sentenced on a Saturday or something.
Yeah, I love that line. It's very good. The way he's just like, I went to jail on a Saturday.
And he's like, you're just pretending to be kind. And he's just like very down on himself and depressed. And she just starts yelling at him and calling him a bastard and tells him to stop being so selfish and thinking about himself. And in the English dub, she calls him a shit stain. So she's kind of being mean. I think she also tells him that like Whitesnake doesn't care about you or something. And he's like, oh, now you're being nice because you're sincere. Like, it's really nice that you're being honest. And he's like, oh, I'm so blessed that I can die with you. And then he tries to kill himself again, with like electrocuting himself. And but this time she made a copy of his head.
She had thrown a sticker onto his head, so he has a double head.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he shocks himself, it does begin to shock Ermes, but the electricity burns off the sticker, so his heads merge, and then it damages his head, I guess, and either knocks him out or kills him. So I guess the idea there is then that either would like cut off the cord, you know, because like he wrapped the cord from the whatever the electrical source is, he wrapped that around him, or maybe he was holding the button and by damaging his head he lets go. I don't know. But then his discs pop out like toast is ready.
Yeah.
And she takes one and is like, well, if you hid $5,000 somewhere, I'll take that as payment for all this bullshit. And then she's like, also, I need to talk to this Jolene. She seems to know some shit. And that's how it ends.
She knows Jolene already, right?
Yes. She remembers her, but she doesn't like know her. You know, you don't know me. You know?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's like weird seeing this in 2022 and thinking about like making these sort of jokes about a suicidal character, but regardless, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a fun idea for a stand. It's cool to see a new character introduced that is like another example of like, here's a weird stand power, here's all the ways you could use it.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked it. What'd you guys think?
I hated this guy.
You hated this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so annoying to me.
like if you met him, you'd hate him, or you hated him as like even a conception?
I hated him as... No, like if I met him, I would hate him.
Yeah, he sucks.
I was just like, oh my God, get rid of this guy. I hope he's dead, right?
He might be. I don't know. I mean,
I think he's dead.
If she takes both his CDs, he's gonna die, apparently.
When his head snapped back together, it looked like it was not working.
That's really scary,
anymore.
by the way, that her stand could do that. That's very scary.
Yeah, she could have as many shoes as she wants.
I guess. It's weird because
really powerful ability.
What if she throws a sticker at your head and that dupes your head? Is it
Mm-hmm.
if you remove it, that could also happen because it's the electricity that removes it. So it's not like McQueen himself doesn't peel it off. Neither does she. So like she could just throw a sticker at your head and then you have no choice but to walk around with two heads. Because if you peeled it off,
could peel it off.
That's pretty crazy if it actually kills people. That's like a really scary, dangerous
And
user.
is it just like a regular ass paper sticker? Like after a while, it'll like decay. Like if you walk out in the rain, will it?
Well, no, it's a stand.
Sure.
I think
you take a shower, you end up snapping your head back.
No, I think it's a stand sticker.
Okay.
So here are
Okay.
some differences between the anime episode and the fucking manga that it originally came from. Emporio is supposed to actually show Hermes a bunch of other characters and stuff and another location in the jail, but they moved that to a few episodes later. So sorry, but you don't get all of that until a little bit later on. The beginning where they're like, Jolene got 5 years added and is now in the fucking punishment ward where Sailor Moon says, I'm going to punish you. That's just added for the anime. I guess they just wanted to be like, we didn't forget about our main character. She's still here. I also discovered just in like looking up stuff about Hermes that the pointy shit on her forehead and chin are tattoos.
Oh.
That's not hair. And she is Mexican-American.
Okay.
At least half.
Nice.
But yeah, she's Mexican-American which makes sense, I guess, why they want to inject Spanish into her speech in the dub in the first episode. According to
did they?
Yes, she calls Jolene Chica. I don't know if she says anything else.
Cool.
Unless I misheard it and she said Pika.
No, she says Chica.
I thought she said maybe she said Pika like Pikachu, and she's a Pokemon.
She could be a Pokemon.
She could be.
She could be a Pokemon, yeah.
The voice.
Let's not rule it out.
The voice actress Mutsumi Tamura says that this is the director's favorite episode.
Okay.
The anime director's like, I like this one where the annoying guy keeps trying to kill himself.
Okay.
It's like funny, but it's also sad, but it's also funny.
It's pretty fucked up, but that's the thing is like Araki definitely was like, this guy's annoying and you don't feel that bad for him. And also had him be a thief, which isn't enough for me to be like, yeah, die. But maybe that's also why White Snake takes great lengths to be like, you're evil. You're a special kind of evil that's very evil and you will help me. But I do ultimately, I mean, like, he's so annoying, but I would feel bad for him and I'd want him to get help, you know, or at least I'd recommend like a podcast, something that would like be uplifting. Maybe I'd recommend him our podcast.
Yeah, this very podcast.
Yeah, people have said that it's good. These people are maybe us, maybe not.
Yeah.
I think that's everything I have on here. All of my notes. What did you guys think of the ep overall, though? Even if you found McQueen annoying,
it was okay. I like Hermes. She's cool.
Yeah, me too. And I like. I don't know if it's going to continue, but I sort of like this conceit of like, okay, we're taking a step back from Jolene. We're going to show you what else is happening. Like,
yeah, because there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, because I remember in part 5, it was just like a lot of episodes that were not about Giorno at all. And at least here we have like a reason for stepping away from Jolene because she's locked up.
Yeah. They still could have some, they still could just be like, here's a guard who turns into a snake or something. But yeah, I'm excited for what the stuff with Emporio that they moved. I'm excited to see that.
Does Emporio must be a stand user, but we have not seen his stand, right?
Right. I mean, he knows what stands are. I theorize that maybe he can see Jolene's because she talks to him with the cup on a string thing. I don't think we've had any official confirmation on that. But
he's just like a great baseball player is his stand.
Yeah. What are short baseball players? Is that like a thing? Are you a catcher? If you're a short baseball player?
Shortstop.
You're a shortstop. That's right. Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah, I don't think you have to be necessarily tall to be a baseball. Maybe to be an outfielder.
Yeah, to reach.
If you're tall to be a pitcher.
I don't know. The only sport where it's definitely good to be short is horse racing. If you're a jockey, you want to be small so your horse can go fast. But I don't know.
All true.
Well, horse racing has nothing to do with JoJo, of course. Anyway.
I'm really trying to find this day of the week panties thing because I swear it's if it's not from JoJo's, it's from somewhere.
Listeners, write in and tell us if this panties thing is from JoJo's or if Jackie forgot about some erotic literature she wrote or who knows.
It's like she wears day of the week panties, but she wouldn't wear one of the days. I think it was like Monday or something. And because that day was missing, the boyfriend thought she was cheating.
Yeah, our search algorithm is going to be fucked up.
I'm trying to find it. I can't.
But it's okay.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I was like, is this like an Am I the Asshole that I read?
That would be a weird, that's like another like very obvious. Am I the Asshole is the dumbest. Some of the stories are fun, but they're often like, hey, I called my wife ugly and punched her in the teeth. Am I the asshole? Why is she crying? I'm so I don't know. I don't get it.
That's like the guys, Am I the Asshole is always like, I did something horrible. Am I the asshole? And then like the woman's Am I the Asshole is like, my husband has body parts in the fridge in the basement and he's am I the asshole for moving them and not be like, you know, It's like he's doing something really weird, creepy, illegal, and she's like, am I the asshole for like for cleaning up his mess or something?
Yeah. That's what some of those posts are. But you know, we should look up panties and days of the week on Reddit because maybe that is where they come from. So yeah, listeners, write in if you know about the panties. Write in if you know about the EDWN tag. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, please, pretty please give us 5 stars on the app. You can leave a review if you want, and you could do whatever you want. You could just write a phrase. You could say how you did on this day's Wordle. You brag about it. But it helps boost us. And I've been uploading the episodes on YouTube. It would be great if you could like those or write a comment on those to bump them up the algorithm. Because right now, if you look for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Podcast on YouTube, you get a lot of other crap that isn't really those things.
What's up with that?
So we should be bumped up. You know what I mean? Help us out. Bump us up. On Twitter,
what are you doing?
It's Joe Budden, New Jersey's own.
Oh, pump it up is what you're doing.
Yeah. On Twitter, we are at JJBpod. And again, our email is jojosbizarrepod@gmail.com. Do you guys want to know what we're watching next week?
Is it JoJo's?
JoJo's Bizarre
It's
Adventure?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, Episode 7. Have a good week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.